Hello students. In today's session, I will explain the detailed account of flower by taking vertical section in the form of diagram. A standard typical flower example is Hibiscus rosa sinensis. When you take its vertical section, you can see a stalk called pedicel. The upper expanded portion is called thalamus. At the base of the thalamus, small leafy outgrowths called bracteoles forming the whorl known as epicalix. Above that, the sepals forming a whorl called calyx, brightly colored petals forming corolla, calyx, corolla. These are accessory or non-essential whorls of a flower. Male whorl is androecium made up of stamens, and gynoecium is a female whorl made up of carpels or pistils. In this, the labelings given and the sectional view, it carry 5 marks weightage in final exam. Now the essential whorls in the flower are androecium and gynoecium. Androecium represents male whorl. This is the symbolic representation for the male. The members of androecium forming the male whorl are stamens. Each stamen shows 2 parts, a stalk called filament and a fertile part called anther. Inside the anther, microsporangia are present. In the microsporangium, mother cells are present. These mother cells undergo microsporogenesis, which is meiotic division to generate haploid microspores or pollen grains. When the anther wall dehisces, the pollen grains are ready to undergo pollination. The female whorl or the gynoecium, represented by this symbol, the members are called carpels or pistil. Each carpel has 3 parts. Stigma to receive pollen grains coming from the anther during pollination. It allows germination of the pollen grain or microspore to develop pollen tube which penetrates in the style. It is the second part of the carpel, and the ovary is fertile part of carpel. Here the ovules or megaspores develop by megasporogenesis. There is a nourishing tissue inside the ovary called placenta, and all these ovules are attached to the placenta. Each ovule representing megasporangium. Within megasporangium, a 7-celled, 8-nucleated embryo sac will develop, and it is a site for double fertilization. And on fertilization, when zygote develops into embryo, each ovule turns into seed, and once the seeds are produced, the whole ovary turns into fruit. This is the result of sexual reproduction. Hope androecium and gynoecium is clear to you. There is 5 marks question expected where they ask what is estivation, explain the types with suitable diagram and examples. Estivation is referring to the arrangement of sepals in calyx, petals in corolla with respect to each other. Now, why there is a necessity to understand the type of estivation? It is to learn the evolutionary development. I already mentioned you, when the sepals or petals are free, we use the word polysepalous or polypetalous. When they are free, the protection given to androecium and gynoecium is less. But when they are united, we call gamosepalous and gamopetalous, they give more protection to the inner essential whorls. By learning the arrangement of sepals and petals, we will come to know the complexity in the development of respective calyx and corolla. Now, when the sepals or petals arranged in the whorl without overlapping and overlapped margins, the margins just touch each other, it is said to be valvate estivation. Then, when the arrangement of sepal and petal you observe, each member's one margin is overlapping, another margin is overlapped. So sequentially, when we observe overlapping and overlapped margins of each member, it is said to be twisted estivation. Now look carefully in imbricate estivation diagrammatic representation. Here one member is with overlapping margin, one member is with overlapped margin, and remaining 3 having overlapping and overlapped margins. There is a special corolla which is observed in Fabaceae family, which includes the pulse yielding plants. For example, beans. When you see the flower of the beans, you can see a largest petal. This is found only in the corolla, not in calyx. There is a largest petal known as vexillum. It is having overlapping margins. The 2 lateral petals are called wing petals. Upper margins are overlapped and lower margins are overlapping. And the smallest keel petals whose lower margin is fused and upper margins are overlapped. This kind of arrangement is in papilionaceous corolla, and they are showing vexillary estivation. So total 4 types of estivation, diagrammatic representation and definition carry 5 marks weightage. It is a compulsory question in final exam. There is one more question expected for 5 marks. As I told you, in carpel, the ovules are developed on the placenta. So placenta is a nourishing tissue which will provide the nourishment to the developing ovules which enclose the female gamete. So need to study the specific arrangement of ovules in the ovary, and this we call placentation. When you see the ovary wall fuse along the ventral suture of the ovary and on which the ovules are arranged, this kind of placentation is said to be marginal placentation. When 5 locules are there in the ovary, it is pentalocular condition, and the central axis on which ovules are arranged, it is said to be axial placentation. When the ovules are arranged along the periphery and along the parietal wall, it is said to be parietal placentation. When there are no proper partitions called septa, pseudoseptas are there. Here clear cut we can see the locules. Here locules are not clearly separated from each other and ovules are suspended. It is said to be free central placentation, and there is a single ovule developed in the ovary which is attached to the base of it. It is said to be basal placentation. Now when you cut the fruit, I already told you that result of fertilization and embryonic development is ovary will become a fruit and ovules will become a seed. So if you want to see the placentation in more clear way, when you take a cut in a fruit, you can easily see the arrangement of the seeds. Recall beans, peas. Seeds are along the margin. Recall lemon or any citrus fruit, sweet lime or orange, axial placentation. Papaya, cucumber, parietal placentation. In watermelon, free central placentation, and take all grains, jawar, maize, wheat, they show basal placentation. Hope this session is just to clarify that all these questions are expected for 5 marks. So this is the most important part from the topic, the flower. Definitely maximum questions will appear from this section. So you need to practice the diagram with the labelings. You should know the respective members forming their whorls, its arrangement on the thalamus, estivation and placentation. With this, I'll conclude this session. Thank you very much.